Everybody buckle up. You too, dear.
I'm starved.
You're always starved.
Mom, will you play volleyball with us?
Only if I can win.
Did you call your mom before you left? She called the other day and wanted to talk to you.
Not to you.
No, never wants to talk to me.
Just because she can't remember your name doesn't mean she doesn't want to talk to you.
See that thing out there? There's a squirrel. Daddy, when are we gonna eat?
We'll be there in a minute. Sit back and relax. What do you need?
Bring in a protector line. Honey, we're going to have to cut the roof off to get you out, but you'll be just fine. Look, it'll only take a second. You'll feel a small vibration, and there'll be just a little noise like this. Okay?
Okay, up with the yellow. Come on, keep her. Release on the yellow. Okay, up with the red one. Okay, up with the yellow too. Hold it. Release on the yellow one. Up with the red. Okay.
Watch your back.
Okay, let's move it a little bit. Okay. Easy, got her.
All right.
Okay, up easy with your double slightly.
Some demonstration. Good. How about this?
Thanks for standing by.
Jeez, I've never seen anything like that. You guys got 6 people out of 2 wrecked vehicles in less than 12 minutes. And the way you handled the victims.
We get a lot of bad accidents in the city. You guys ever do any extricating?
Us? No, nothing like this. We're just a small town, mostly volunteers. We got a wrecker does the heavy stuff.
Yeah, some big clumsy ape and his kid. We think they killed a guy last month. Pulled him out of a wrecked car, through a window. You can't prove anything, though.
Our chief wants us to get more involved with auto rescue. We got some tools on order, but nothing like the stuff you got.
Hey, that was some demonstration you guys put on down there.
Yeah, but it went too fast for us to follow. Want to run through it again?
Look, we're going to be here for a while. If you got a few minutes, I'll run over some of the procedures.
Hey, can we stick around?
You sure as hell can.
Okay. The first thing we do when we get to the scene of an accident is to stabilize the victim. We've got to stop any bad bleeding and make sure there's nothing obstructing their breathing. In this case, we didn't seem to have any of those problems.
What if any of the victims would have needed emergency first aid?
Then we would have had to smash some glass to get to the victims fast. We don't like doing that because people inside can get cut. But if it's a matter of life and death, we'll do it. Now, in addition to stabilizing the victims, we've also got to stabilize the vehicles. In this case, we've built a box crib out of wooden blocks which we always carry on our truck. We also could have stabilized the car by moving our vehicle against it and tying them together. We prefer the cribbing because it keeps our truck mobile. We would never, under any circumstances, shove a vehicle back on its wheels when there's people inside. We could do more harm to the victims than the collision did. Now, even if there's no indication of fire, we keep a man standing by with a charged line, just in case. Since we had you guys on the scene, we were able to extricate the victims a bit faster. If the car battery is easily accessible, we disconnect it by yanking or unbolting the cables. Cutting them can sometimes produce a spark which could ignite any gas that's leaking.
What if you can't get at the battery?
Then we don't waste any time with it. If it gives us any trouble, we've got a charged line ready.
What about the gas tank?
If it's leaking and we can easily get to the hole, we use some sealing clay. And we're always very careful with flares.
And if the tank's not leaking?
We just don't worry about it. Once the victims and vehicles are stabilized, we're ready to start extricating. If the vehicle is on its wheels or upside down, we take them out through the doors. If the vehicle's on its side, we take them out through the roof. Nobody gets pulled through windows. No how, no way. Before we start tearing into a car, we always try the door handles first. Sometimes, even after the worst collision, a door will still open normally. Usually they don't, especially with late model cars that have the steel safety latch.
Couldn't you unlock the door by breaking the glass and lifting the latch?
Even if the latch could be raised, the door might still be jammed shut. Then you've risked cutting your victims for nothing. Besides, with our tools, we can open any door in a matter of minutes, even if the roof's caved in. We usually lift the roof first. It makes it easier to get the doors open. We use a pry bar to peel back a little sheet metal so we can get the tools to bite in. Then we pop the door open, using either the power jaws or the porta-power wedge spreader combination.
I like the way those were color-coded.
Yeah, it really speeds the operation. The man positioning the tools doesn't have to think about the names of the tools. He just works by the color.
Okay, up with the red. Okay, up with the yellow too.
One of the pumpers keeps his butt pressed against the door,
Hold it.
so when the door pops loose, it doesn't jump out and smack one of us.
Okay.
Once we get the door open, we can widen the entry with either the power jaws or the come-along tool. As soon as it's convenient, we switch off the ignition, just an added measure of fire protection for the victims. These are scared, hurt people. They need all the help and comfort we can give them. I don't give a damn who caused the accident. Drunk or sober, stoned or straight, they're still people in trouble. Even the little things are important, like patting those kids' heads to reduce the vibrations on them when we cut the roof. We also try to protect the people outside the vehicles, the ones who are watching the extrication. They could be relatives of the victims. If there's a lot of blood and gore, or if any of the victims are dead, we cover them before we take them out. And we handle the body with the same care we use on a live person. Try to imagine how a child would feel seeing his dead mother pulled from a car like a side of beef. So we take a little more time and maybe prevent some major traumas.
That was an air chisel, wasn't it, that you were using to slice through the roof of the red car?
Yeah, that's a special tool operating on 300 pounds of pressure. We also could have done the job with the jaws.
What about a power saw?
Well, we always carry one, and they're great for ventilation and non-auto extrication. But they produce a lot of sparks cutting sheet metal. If the saw's all you got, great, use it. But keep a fine water mist over the whole area.
What about a cutting torch?
Well, we carry those too, but they're too great a fire hazard for the average auto extrication. They're fine if you got a lot of heavy metal to cut, like a semi or a railroad car, but you don't need a torch to get into an automobile. Hell, in a pinch, you could probably use a can opener.
I noticed you only cut 3 sides of the roof.
Right. We fold the 4th side. Gives us a smooth edge to work over.
I like the way you only move the people on backboards.
Always. It's too easy to turn an inline fracture into a compound one.
Why the towel?
Makes a great temporary cervical collar. She looked like she might have had a neck injury.
It seemed like everyone came out fairly easily, except for the drivers.
Well, that's usually the case. They get pinned between the wheel and the seat. Their feet are often caught under one of the pedals. We know we're going to have to shatter glass to get them out. So we cover them with aluminized blankets, which also offer a fair amount of fire protection. Both drivers were trapped by the steering wheels. Since we had to pull both wheels, we had to break out both windshields. One was set in rubber, and we did what we're rarely able to do. After pulling off the wipers and slicing the rubber with a knife, we could just lift out the glass. The other windshield was set in mastic, which is more typical. We couldn't cut it loose, so we had to crack it with the bailing hook.
Wouldn't the air gun have been faster?
Sure, but it's not worth the hazard. That chisel throws slivers of glass all over the place. The bailing hook's slower, but not all that much. Once we cleared the windshield, we could use either the come-along or the power jaws to pull the wheel out of the driver's lap. With either tool, we fasten one end to a strong point on the front chassis. The other end goes low around the steering column. A lot of cars have tilt-up steering wheels, Now, if we get on the high side of the tilting joint, the steering wheel's liable to pop up and take some of the driver's teeth with it.
I noticed you used a lot of cribbing when you pulled the wheel.
That's to keep from collapsing the hood and to give a sharper lift angle to the wheel. Now, both drivers also had their feet caught under the pedals. In one car, we were able to lift the pedal with a porta-power. With the other, we used the power jaws. We also could have used the come-along. Next, we had to force back the driver's seats. We used the come-along tool in one of the cars. First, we attached one end to a strong point on the rear of the chassis. We had to bring the other end in through the rear window.
That was a neat technique for shattering the glass.
One sharp blow in the corner does the trick. We can get up to 4,000 pounds of pull with the come-along, enough to snap any seat loose. And the handle is designed to bend before the cable will break.
Support that neck good.
Got the neck?
Okay.
In the other car, we had to unsqueeze the door pillars before we could slide the front seat back. We used a 4-ton ram to do that job. Then we used the power jaws to snap the seat brackets.
Man, what an incredible toolkit.
Sure, we use all of them, but we don't really need them all. We could probably get by with less than half of them. There's a lot more to extrication than tools. It's mainly common sense and just caring about people. I don't have to tell you guys about amateurs and thrill seekers pulling people out of cars and actually killing them in the process. Before we really get involved...
We're ready to leave.
Be right there. Well, so long, guys. Thanks for your help.
Hey, we got a lot more from you than you got from us.
Fair exchange. Take care.
You know, the chief's right.
How do you mean?
Extrication. It's not a job for amateurs. You really got to know what you're doing.
I'm a believer.